Namo Amitabha. Thank you for joining me for our daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This beautiful sound calls us back to our true home. The second mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by exploitation, social injustice, stealing, and oppression. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and learn ways to work for the well-being of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I will practice generosity by sharing my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in real need. I'm determined not to steal and not to possess anything that should belong to others. I will respect the property of others, but I will prevent others from profiting from human suffering or the suffering of other species on earth. For Dharma lessons, we're beginning a new book today, Pure-Land Zen Pure-Land, excerpts from the letters of Patriarch Yin Kuang. Today we're reading the preface. After the demise of the historical Buddha, his teachings spread in two main directions, southward, Theravada tradition, and eastward into China, Vietnam, Korea, Japan, Mahayana tradition. In East Asia, these teachings developed into 10 different schools, several of which remained important to this day, Zen, Tantric, and Pure-Land. Pure-Land is by far the most widespread form of Buddhism in East Asia. All these schools teach the same basic truth. Do not what is evil, do what is good, keep the mind pure. True to the spirit, the Pure-Land approach is simple and straightforward. Through mindfulness of the Buddha, that is, Buddha recitation, the practitioner can calm his mind and achieve samadhi and wisdom. Thus reborn in the Pure-Land, that is, in this pure mind, he will eventually attain Buddhahood. This is also the core teaching, the very essence of Zen and all other Mahayana schools. As D.T. Suzuki has pointed out, the psychological effects of the repetition of the holy name are close to the effects of Zen meditation. This notwithstanding, the main emphasis of the Pure-Land school lies elsewhere. Pure-Land provides a safety net, a refuge of last resort for everyone, through the compassion of Amitabha Buddha, through his vows. Taken together, these two concepts of the Pure-Land, as mind and as a transcendental land, effectively brought within the reach of all men the deliverance taught by Shakyamuni, Alan A. Andrews. But why do we have to purify the mind and seek deliverance? It is because in the wasteland of birth and death, subject to the three poisons of greed, anger, and delusion, we all undergo suffering, the ultimate suffering, of course, being death. Echoing this conclusion, a well-known American professor made this observation about the motivation of Western Buddhists. Quote, probably the majority of non-Orientals who become practicing Buddhists do so because of an overriding need for relief from suffering. Sometimes the suffering is physical, but more often it is emotional and often psychosomatic. The individual practicing meditation, chanting, or any kind of Buddhist self-cultivation is motivated by a need for symptomatic relief, mitigation of anxiety and depression, reduction of hostility. End quote. Emma McCoy Lehman, Buddhism in America. This is precisely why Buddha Shakyamuni, when preaching the Four Noble Truths to Kaundinya and his friends, taught them first the truth of suffering. The letters of Master Yin Kuang address this issue squarely. If you are suffering, and if you realistically discover that you have only average motivation, fortitude, and self-discipline, then Pure-Land is for you. Pure-Land is about suffering and the liberation from suffering. This book consists of excerpts of selected letters by the Patriarch Yin Kuang. Each letter can be considered a unit in itself. Please note that in this text, the expressions Buddha recitation and Buddha's name refer specifically to Amitabha Buddha. Here then are the letters of Patriarch Yin Kuang. We hope the Western reader will enjoy and benefit from them as several generations of Eastern readers have. As a Zen master has written in another context, read them once, read them twice, and look for the same thing that Bodhi Dharma brought to China. Look for the print of the mind. Van Hien Study Group, Festival of Samantabhadra, New York, 1992. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be at peace. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for joining me today.